people aren't standing up the way they should in the legislature, and we need the type of activism that these people were able to demonstrate to happen here in West Virginia, and it is happening. So I want to introduce really incredible people from across West Virginia. We're so lucky. They really represent like the mid section of the states, and then also up in the northern panhandle, or eastern panhandle. Yeah, eastern panhandle, sorry.
That's right.
But it's really a statewide effort. So I want to kick off this discussion by asking each of them to, first of all, introduce themselves to you all, and then also kind of describe how what we saw in the film today relates to what you've been doing in your communities. And I think you have a microphone too. It should be on.
Can you guys hear this? My name is Todd Bullock. I'm from Thurman, just down the road a little bit in Fayette County. And I'm a law student up at WVU. I'm in my last year. And just last February, we passed, I'm on my city council in my hometown. There's only 5 people that live there. And so it's not much to brag about. But we passed a non-discrimination ordinance last February, and apparently we were the smallest town in the country to do so. So it got some good media press, and I guess I realized what a big issue it is in our state, and until watching this video, I really didn't even realize how big of an issue it was around the country. And just watching that just made me more proud of everything that we had done. And
non-discrimination legislation, and we had a big turnout for that, and then we had this huge group of people that was really passionate about it. So back in March, we learned early on that an ordinance at that point was pretty much out of the question, but we decided to try for a resolution, which is it's not technically law, but it's sort of a firm suggestion that businesses have non-discrimination policies in place. And so we thought we'd try that, and we had a large group of people who went in front of the council in March, and it passed 6-4. It was very close. It was pretty scary, but there were so many parts of this film, like the beginning testimonies against, we heard the same things. It was really uncanny how familiar this was. But it passed, and now we kind of took a little break, but we're going to start soon pursuing an ordinance. So that's where we are now.
My name is Joe Mercurio. I'm from Martinsburg, West Virginia. And I started with Help of Fairness to get an ordinance passed in Martinsburg. And our story was the beginning went really well. It seemed like it was gonna fly through. We had pretty much had the entire city council was on our side. And then a little group in West Virginia called the Family Policy Council, which is evil is a better name for them, got wind of it because the local news station picked it up and they got wind of it and decided that if anybody's familiar with Martinsburg is kind of a progressive town. The Eastern Panhandle is there's pockets of, but it's mostly a progressive city, which is why we thought it was going to pass pretty easily. But the Family Policy Council decided to get in touch with some clergy and some churches that were actually outside of Martinsburg and to come fight us. So what was supposed to be a pretty easy thing turned into a nightmare. And literally the first 5 minutes of that film was about 4 hours of testimony in a council meeting. Luckily, and it was a surprise attack, so we didn't really know it, but luckily we had some spies on the council that were for it, and actually most of them were for it, and started letting us know what was going on so we could counter. But it was literally like 2 days. They would really were just planning a surprise attack, which I think they did to you guys too.
We knew they were coming.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the Family Policy Council.
Oh, okay. So we had a chance, and we went from unanimous support to 2 people supporting, 2 city council members, because the policy literally scared them to death. So we got a phone campaign and letters and luckily staved them off. And actually the meeting that we were at was just to get the approval to write the ordinance. It wasn't to get it approved, but which was the Family Policy Council. It was going to be their probably best way to stop us, was that they were going to table it, and it was there if it went through. But luckily, because of fairness and because of community members, it ended up passing unanimously to get it written. So we still have, which actually this coming Thursday, is our first vote once it's written. But and I did it because I grew up in Martinsburg. I went in the military and left, but I really left because I was gay, and I didn't want to live there anymore. It was then. This has been a while ago. I'm not going to say how many years ago, but it's been a while ago. But I wanted to make Martinsburg a place where younger people or talented young people that can stay in the city and make it a better place don't want to leave and go somewhere else to live. I wanted them to be comfortable to stay in Martinsburg and make Martinsburg a better place to live. So that's kind of my story.
And thank you guys so much for being here. It's so important to have personal stories that are happening in West Virginia. It's one thing to have a national story going on, but West Virginians care about West Virginia, and so your representation is so important. What I was so moved about in watching the film is their strategy with the Add the Words t-shirts, the arrests, putting their hands over their mouths to symbolize being silenced. What kind of strategies have you all found are successful in your town? Because I know we have an ordinance that's passed, we have a resolution that may become an ordinance shortly, and we've got, even next week, they're talking about the ordinance that is being written. So we've got various stages going on, but what strategies in your communities have been working for you?
Joy. I'll start.
And if you could hold the mic as close to your face as possible. I wanna make sure if you can't hear, just shout.
Like I said, there's only 5 people in my town, so the strategy only applied to 4 other people. But they were also concerned with, they're sort of older folks. They're in their 40s and 50s, and very, very cool people, very, very open-minded people. But they did have concerns about what it would entail, what it would subject our city to. So they had a lot of questions, and I answered them as best as I could, and it was a 2-month process. They kind of, I like what the lady in the film said about how she thinks that people know what's right and wrong. It's just inconvenient, and I think that was kind of the same way with our council, that they knew that it was something that was important, but we're running a city. We don't, there's a lot of things that are going on in the town. I mean, as much as can happen with 4 people in a town, but so for them, I just had to sort of apply cordial, respectful pressure on them to, to kind of face up to it, and it was just a simple means of writing, basically taking Charleston's language, and as I said, I'm in law school, so I'm kind of nerdy about reading statutes and stuff like that. So I kind of liked changing that for Thurman, and I just did it all for him, and so I guess that was my strategy. Was sort of 2 months of I guess sort of just like a gentle nudging along the way.
For us, see, like, we started out, and we knew originally pretty much which council members would vote for it and which would vote against. And that didn't change much, but there were 1 or 2 that we knew could be swayed in either direction. So one thing we did that to provide like visual support is we had local businesses sign declarations of non-discrimination that said that they would put these policies in place in their businesses regardless of whether or not it was a law, and they urged the council to do so. And Fairness gave us these, but we had over 60 businesses sign these declarations and put stickers in